Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Propagandacast with your host Imperial Dane, here looking at Iron Harvest, a game that has now been put out in very early alpha in a surprise move, but it seems like the developers were feeling a bit bullish and so decided to commit to it. So here we are playing Iron Harvest, a sort of alternate history RTS game set in a world where mechs happen and there's sort of more steampunky things. There's 3 factions in total in the final game. There's 2 in the game, one which is playable Polania, and then you got the Saxony up here, the other faction. There's also a lot of overlap in equipment by the way at the moment. But, those are their Japs, they're sort of Germans with Pickelhaube and all that. Also, there's no fog of war. Basically, this is what called their early alpha, meaning a lot of content is, missing, things are not polished, all that. So, I mean, this does not in any way represent the final product. And, of course, the devs really want me to make sure you know that, so you don't go think, wow, this game is, rubbish. But apparently, for some reason, they felt, again, they kind of, wanted to show it off anyways, probably to drum up some more support. Maybe get some more people to pre-order the game. There's a link to their website. We can do that in the video description if for some reason find it interesting. I mean, I've been trying it out a bit. There's basically a skirmish map and a challenge map available here in the early alpha so far. There's some units available. All vehicles and equipment so far shared between the factions. I don't know if garrisons at some point are going to be planned, but so far there's basically only heavy cover. I mean, they kind of want to play like, company heroes, but doesn't quite have all of the stuff so far, if you will. You got cannon teams and tank teams as well. Lots of big explosions. I'm a bit unsure if you could sort of feel. I can maybe sort of turn it down a bit further. Hang on. Thought I had to turn it down, but clearly I might need to turn it out a bit further. There you go. No speech by the way. There's no audio recorded so far. It's only one of my smaller sort of niggles with the game so far. I mean, while I like the visuals, so large game, it sort of looks very nice in some ways. I don't like the whole, anti-tank teams, Basil seems a bit upset for some reason. Maybe he wants more attention, I know, but basically, everyone just, is that guy's like, if you got an anti-tank team, everyone's an anti-tank team. Unlike, say, companies when you got a couple of bazookas and the rest sort of regular fighters. But for some note here, what I'm doing now, picking up with this, takes a bit of a while there, and then they'll all be transformed into an anti-tank team, meaning, alrighty then. Which gets a bit weird. Similarly, can then pick up here and they become, an engineered team. It's a bit, shall we say, odd. And certainly not necessarily entirely to my tastes, personally. Just don't need that. I needed more of those grenadier guys, which are just basically regular riflemen, but with access to grenades, it can still cost more. Another thing in that sense, of course, is that all units are basically either, rifles on one side and submachine guns on the other side. So it sort of gets a bit, shall we say, old school RTS in a weird way. It feels very, shall we say, anachronistic. Like they kind of want to do something more modern with company heroes, but at the same time, it seems like they also, want to do other stuff, and it sort of leads to this, shall we say, slightly weird state of affairs. In my opinion. Also, I'm trying to manage a cat here as well, so my apologies. Looks a bit weird. Also, there's not a lot of cover. There's, for example, no light cover here compared with company heroes, so it all gets a bit wonky. So I'm just trying to manage all feedback from minimaps and all that. Also, a bit, shall we say, less clearer. So. Again, I'm not playing this as fully smartly as I can, obviously. I'm trying. And at times it's a bit unclear what's going on. Again, this is alpha, so this is to be expected, obviously. It's to be expected. The music's actually kind of nice. I mean, that's a plus. Also, currently you can't retreat units either, so you gotta move them back. And on the other hand, reinforcement is instantaneous. So there you go. There's grenades that you can pick up there. So if I want to, you can make a grenade team out of that. Oh, neato. There you go. Press that. Instantly reinforced. And there you go. All of a sudden, they're no longer engineers. They're grenade guys. There's some anti-tanks that are scattered about with apparently telescopic legs. So there is that. Lost the guy. Bit tricky to maintain. For some reason, it's also up there. I mean, the UI is also, shall we say, a tad unintuitive. There we go. Wipe that. So that's been cleared out. But yeah, you got these resource points, you know, like requisition, fuel, and such. Now it's just steel, I guess, or iron, and then fuel. There's no third resource, like in Company of Heroes 1 and 2. Very sort of basic setup. I mean, it also looks nice. There's sort of a nice aesthetic to it. It's just, it doesn't quite seem like the aesthetic extends to the mechanics. Like, again, you know, all of a sudden everyone's, you know, an anti-tank guy for some reason, or, you know, everyone's a grenade guy. And, like, the only difference between the grenades and all that is, you know, alright, they got grenades. That's literally, you're paying a lot more for just grenades. And again, the Saxons here, the Germans, are all about, you know, submachine guns, whereas the Polanians, the Poles, are all about rifles. It gets a bit weird, and it sort of feels, you know, more old school RTS, and sort of probably where I think they need to sort of, shall we say, clean it up a bit, you know, to figure out what they want to do here, to be honest. Because it feels a bit, you know, out of place. At least to me, again, as, you know, veteran Company's player. You also got this weird mortar guy who's in a power armor, and apparently against someone decide, you know, alright, we got this power armor, let's strap a mortar to it instead of, you know, let's strap some really big guns to it and just, you know, send them out ahead, and then plus he gets a battering ram for some reason. I mean, it gets a bit weird. It gets a bit weird. There we go, got my own mech out here. Currently that one bad because, again, balancing is not exactly a high priority either, is the most effective. There you go, throw that up. And the AI has clearly also decided that those are the most effective, so, I mean, you know, at least we're on the same page here. There's also some nice details left. For example, you can see that the mech is heavily damaged. It shows, and if it gets repaired, you know, it'll still retain that, shall I say, damage. And apparently they managed to get their way into my base without me noticing. Outstanding. Rather chaotic, as you might be noticing, rather chaotic at times, partly because, again, unlike in companies, again, there's just that lack of audio response. Again, I've got half the time no particular clue as to what's happening. It's just like, oh, I guess something's dying. Again, it doesn't help the UI layout is a bit, you know, here then did that on top of that, so it's a bit tricky at the moment to sort of get things properly rolling as I try to figure out what's happening. But again, early alpha, to be expected. No surprise there. Though again, looks very nice. You know, Big Mac goes down. It has sort of a nice, shall we say, weight to it. It feels like stuff is hit and stuff dies. And, you know, you can't deny that gravity in these situations is important. You know, it has to feel right. Otherwise, you know, what's the point? But I do wish, like, they clean up this bit. I mean, I find it cool, you know, maybe you used to be able to pick up grenades. Suddenly a unit has the ability for grenades, like, say, engineers could be modified that way. I mean, I think that'd be a lot more interesting. Just, you know, suddenly everyone's a grenade guy from engineer guy. Say, you know, you killed an engineer unit, you pick up the stuff, so maybe you got some slight engineering capabilities, but it's not going to be effective as, say, you know, full engineer unit. Similarly, you know, for grenade guys, you know, could then, you know, have some more abilities than just, you know, throw the bloody grenade and that's it. So that would sort of, you know, be my thoughts here. Like, I think the game definitely has potential, but I think it needs to figure out from there. Again, just huge damage inflicted on the mech, tank, or spider tank in this case, and down it goes. But right now, I think the most cost-efficient is just straight up these chaps. They're faster, and they pack a punch versus both infantry and armor. Like, they just work, which is super important. Also, I think I'm losing in victory points, which of course is a bit unfortunate, but details. I got 3 big mech things out. Okay, hunt them down and murder them if possible. There you go, retreat them, I guess. Alright, they just keep running, don't they? Stop doing that. Alright, we got some destruction of the houses. End their lives. Like the municipal run they are. Almost got them, though they got my stuff in return. The little bleeders. Down And he goes. Splendid. Oh wait, they just ran on. As you might notice, again, these are basically light tanks. The opponents can't really stop them. Also, this is just set stuff because they're lacking content, like most of the front vehicles aren't there. I do hope we get some regular stuff as well, besides just all mechs, because, like, transports in. I mean, another issue with this, sort of everyone is just this or everyone is that, is the risk, making strategies actually very limited. Like, we can't, like, do some variations from the game, it becomes, shall we say, a bit boring in the long run. At least it risks becoming, shall we say, a bit boring in my perspective. Yeah, feel free to disagree with that. Just got that. Just one mech, but there we go. Almost got the spider one. Oh, no, there's another one on the way. But as my notes again, these two sort of big ones, and again, they do have some nice animation, modeling, all that, like really great sort of artwork sort of involved with them, such. I mean, I really like that. And again, why I think there's potential, like, it really has some imagination behind it, like some really cool stuff. It's just mechanically, I feel like they need to sort of figure it all out. I think that's where, like, less clear in how they have to like manage it mechanically with the aesthetics of it. Otherwise, I just don't think this game is going to work out for much for them. But if they can somehow do that, if they can sort of go, all right, this is what we want to do, this is how the game should actually play, great. But right now, it just feels like sort of stuck between worlds and isn't entirely sure which direction it entirely wants to go in. So there's that. Yeah, just lots of wrecked spider tanks. My scout mech's then moving ahead. You also got this one which sort of levels up whenever you begin building something. This work mech. Lots more Pickel Halberd wielding submachine gun troopers. Some machine guns would also be, I think, a nice choice in add in. Got all victory points now, so I'm just bleeding them out. In that sense, I mean, this is sort of largely the entire experience. There's not much else to say there, I think. Not much else. I mean, can add one of those big, box mechs with a chain gun, but they're not effective anyways, but, quite good. That's that. Lost another scout. Getting most of the resources now, so that's good. It's only going to take a bit of while here. Apparently ticks up and down at the same time. Oh, never mind, I got 90. That's how it works. Rather than just being drained, you sort of build up for victory points instead. I guess that's another way of doing it. Less tug of war in some ways. There we go. Big hulking monstrosity there. Saxony mech with a huge chain gun. But again, lots of stuff lacking still. They'll probably be adding that throughout the alpha and into the beta, I imagine. Though when that's going to be, of course, is another question. And again, as you might notice, compared with the other one, this is really slow. Really slow. Incredibly slow. And there we go. We win. Nice victory music, by the way. I mean, again, the music is great. The visuals, in many ways, I think, are great. Except Mortar Guy. Again, it's just like they need to sort out the whole mechanical element. Like, they need to figure out where do they want to be on, like, the RTS scale. Do they want to be old school because, sure, but then in a way hanging on to Come Hughes, and if, they want to do, more modern stuff like Come Hughes, like, it needs, let go of some of that old baggage, if you will, like, the whole, everyone's an anti-tank guy or no one's anti-tank guy. Everyone's a grenade guy. I mean, I think you could do a lot better than just like you use, and that way you gain like slightly minor benefits when you're picking up the package. Like, hey, it's only a couple of guys anti-tank guys, the rest are regular infantry. Or hey, we got a few grenades now we can toss. Or now some we actually a bit better in engineering. That sort of stuff I think would bring out more options and make things overall more interesting. So while I definitely say Iron Harvest again has potential, and the promise of actually achieving it, we'll have to see if it actually sort of can get there, but it definitely has the option. it definitely has the option. So if that's something that interests you, there's a link in the video description. You can sort of head over to the site and do some stuff with that. Try out the skirmish battle or the challenge mission. I'll be doing a video on that later, I think. But for now, this is sort of the basics of it. The initial impressions, positive, but mechanically it needs some work. It needs some work. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment, all of that. This is Imperial Dane signing off for now. I'll be back another time for another video. Cheers, everybody.